The neon lights of the alien bazaar flickered like dying stars, casting strange colors on the crowded market. Machines hissed, alien voices shouted, and the air was heavy with the smell of burning oil and strange spices. In this chaos, humans were rare, most of them just passing through, but tonight, one human walked with quiet steps. His name was Daniel, a simple man. Dressed in a worn jacket, his eyes scanned the stalls. But he was not looking for food or weapons. He was searching for something else, though even he could not say what. Then he saw her. Behind a cage of glowing bars stood a girl. Her skin was pale with a soft shimmer, her eyes large and glowing faint blue. Her hair fell down like silver strands. She looked young, but her face carried deep sadness. Her arms were thin, marked with faint scars. The sign above her cage flashed in red letters. For rent, one night only. Daniel stopped walking. He had seen slaves before, but this girl was different. She did not shout for help like others. She did not beg. She simply sat in the corner, hugging her knees. Her eyes, though tired, held a spark of defiance. An alien merchant with 4 arms noticed Daniel staring. The creature grinned, sharp teeth glistening. "Ah, human. You have good taste," it said. "One night with her. Only 50 credits. She is obedient, clean, and trained. You won't regret." Daniel's jaw tightened. He hated the way the alien spoke, as if she was a tool, not a living being. He looked at the girl again. She met his eyes for a brief second, and he felt something inside, an unspoken plea. Without another word, Daniel placed the credits on the counter. The merchant's grin widened. "Wise choice, human," it said. Pressing a button to open the cage, the girl stepped out slowly, her chains clinking. She kept her head low, her body trembling slightly. She expected the worst. She had been rented before, every time ending with pain and humiliation. This was her life, and she had accepted it. But this human was silent. He did not pull her harshly, did not touch her roughly. Instead, he simply said, "Come." His voice was calm. The girl looked up, confused. His eyes did not burn with desire like others. They were steady, almost gentle. She followed, unsure. They walked through the crowded market, aliens staring, whispering. Some laughed, mocking the human for wasting money. But Daniel ignored them all. He brought her to a small rented room at the edge of the station. The door closed and silence filled the air. The girl stood in the corner, waiting. Her heart raced. She whispered softly, "What do you want me to do, master?" Her voice broke at the last word. Daniel shook his head. "Don't call me that," he said quietly. He pulled out a blanket from the bed and placed it on the floor. "Sit, eat first." He pushed a packet of warm food toward her. The girl froze. She blinked at the food. Her stomach growled, but her mind screamed, "It's a trick." No one ever fed her before service. She shook her head in fear. I can't. If the merchant knows, he will punish me." Daniel's voice was steady. "You are safe here, eat." Slowly, her shaking hands reached out. She tasted the bread and her eyes widened. Warmth spread through her body. A single tear rolled down her cheek. She tried to hide it, but Daniel noticed. He sat across from her, not touching, just watching. Finally, he spoke, "What is your name?" The girl hesitated. No one ever asked. "To the traders." She was just property, finally, she whispered. "Lyra," Daniel nodded. "Lyra," he repeated softly, as if giving the name value. "You are safe tonight. Nothing will happen to you." Her lips parted, but no words came out. Her chest rose and fell fast. She could not understand, why was this human different? Why did he treat her like a person? As the night passed, Daniel asked nothing from her. He gave her food, water, and let her rest. He lay down on the floor instead of the bed, keeping distance. The girl watched him, her heart confused for the first time in her life. She felt no fear in a rented night, but deep inside, she also felt something dangerous, hope. Because tomorrow she would return to the cage, and this dream would end, yet a voice inside whispered, maybe not. And as Daniel closed his eyes, he thought the same. He had rented her for one night, but something told him this was only the beginning. The next morning came too soon. The market bell rang across the station, a harsh sound that meant all rented slaves must return to their cages. Lyra woke with panic, clutching the blanket close to her chest. Her eyes darted to Daniel, who was still sitting near the door. Awake, he had not slept. He had watched the night pass, thinking the girl had eaten, rested, and for the first time, smiled faintly before falling asleep. That image stayed in his mind like fire. When the bell rang again, Lyra's body trembled. She whispered, "I must go back if I'm late. They will hurt me." Her voice carried the weight of many punishments from the past. Daniel stood up slowly. He wanted to stop her, to say she would never go back. But the truth was harder. He had only rented her for one night, and now the merchants expected her return. He clenched his fists. They walked through the crowded bazaar. The cages stood in long rows, glowing bars buzzing like angry bees. Merchants shouted prices. Aliens bargained. Laughter filled the air. It was cruel music. When Lyra stepped back into her cage, her shoulders sank. Her eyes turned dull again. She wrapped her arms around her knees, the spark from last night fading away. The merchant with 4 arms laughed when he saw Daniel. "Ah, human, one night is never enough, eh? She's a good product, worth every coin. Did you enjoy her?" His tone was mocking. Daniel's jaw tightened. He wanted to punch the alien's teeth out, but he kept calm. He glanced at Lyra. She avoided his eyes. She was trying to hide her tears. The merchant leaned closer. "She is free again tonight. If you want, I give you discount. 40 credits only." Daniel looked at his credit chip. He had little money left, but his heart screamed louder than reason. He nodded. "I'll take her again." The merchant's laugh echoed. "See, I knew it. Humans are weak for soft skin." He pressed the button, and once again the cage door opened. Lyra stood in shock. Her legs refused to move. She whispered, "Why? You don't need me again. One night is enough. Why risk the money?" Daniel's voice was steady. "Because you are not just one night." Come, her heart beat fast. She followed again, confused for so long. Her life had been measured in hours and coins. But now she wondered, was she worth more than that? Back in the small room, Daniel placed food before her again. This time she didn't hesitate. She ate quickly, almost afraid it would vanish. He watched quietly, letting her feel safe. When she was done, he asked, "Do they always treat you like this? Rent cage rent again?" Her eyes lowered. "Since I was a child, they call us night property. Never free, never owned, just rented. If no one rents us, we are beaten. Sometimes, worse." Her voice cracked. Daniel felt anger burn in his chest. He leaned closer. "Do you want to stay like this forever?" Lyra froze, her lips trembled. She had never been asked that question. The word forever scared her, she whispered. "It doesn't matter what I want, no one asks." "No one cares." Daniel's hand tightened on the table. His eyes were firm. "I care." Silence filled the room. Lyra's chest rose and fell quickly. She wanted to believe him, but her heart was afraid. She had seen kindness vanish before, but something about this human was different. He did not look at her like property. That night passed like the first. No demands, no cruelty, only safety. Daniel again gave her the bed and took the floor. But this time, before she closed her eyes, she whispered, "Why me? Out of all the slaves, why do you choose me?" Daniel stared at the ceiling. His voice was quiet. "Because when I looked into your eyes, I saw a person, not property." Her breath caught. A tear slipped down. She turned her face into the blanket, afraid he might see her cry. But inside, a storm of feelings grew. Fear, hope, and something deeper she did not understand. Outside the walls of the room, the bazaar never slept, alien traders whispered. Some had noticed the human renting the same girl twice. That was unusual, dangerous even already. Eyes were watching Daniel. As the second night ended, Lyra knew the truth. This could not last. Tomorrow she would return again, and maybe Daniel would not come back. Maybe tonight was the last dream, but Daniel had already made his choice. He stared into the dark, his mind clear. He would not let her go back a third time. Not to that cage, not to that life. The second night was over, but the real fight was just beginning. The third morning arrived with the same cruel bell echoing across the bazaar. Its metallic sound meant one thing: slaves must be returned. Dreams must end. Lyra's eyes opened slowly. Her chest felt heavy. She had lived 2 nights of strange kindness. But she knew it could not last, she whispered. "I must go back." Her voice was low, defeated. Her hands trembled as she folded the blanket neatly, almost like an apology for using it. Daniel watched her quietly, his jaw clenched. He had tried to ignore the thought, but now it was too loud to silence. He could not let her go again. As they stepped into the market, the air was even louder than before. Merchants barked, aliens bargained. Strange music played from machines. Yet Daniel's eyes were fixed only on the cage at the end. The one glowing faint blue, the one waiting for Lyra. The four-armed merchant saw them approach. His grin stretched wide. Ah, human, back again. I was certain you would not resist. She is addictive, yes? He tapped his claws on the control panel, his laugh cutting through the noise. Lyra lowered her head, shame flooding her. She hated these words, hated being reduced to a product. Daniel's fists curled at his sides. He forced his voice to stay calm. I want her again. The merchant smirked. 3 nights? You must really like her, but rules are rules. She cannot be yours forever, only rent, that is the law here. Daniel's eyes burned. He stepped closer. Then sell her to me. The merchant froze, his laughter dying around them. Nearby traders turned their heads curious. A human asking to buy a rental slave was not common. It was dangerous. The alien hissed. Impossible. She belongs to the guild, not me alone. Even if I sell, the price would be very high. His grin returned, sharper than before. You cannot afford her. Daniel pulled out his credit chip, placing it hard on the counter. Try me. The merchant's 4 hands tapped quickly on the panel. Calculating, his eyes glowed with greed. 1,000 credits, he declared, loud enough for others to hear. The crowd gasped. That was more than most starships cost. Lyra's head snapped up, her eyes wide. No. Don't, she whispered. It's too much. You'll lose everything. Her voice shook, terrified. She did not want him destroyed for her sake. Daniel did not look at her. His eyes stayed locked on the merchant. Done, he said. His voice was firm, final. The crowd erupted in shouts. Some aliens laughed. Others cursed. Stupid human. Someone yelled, throwing away fortune for a slave. Another sneered. The merchant blinked, shocked for only a moment before greed overtook him. He swiped the chip, the numbers flashing across the screen. He laughed loudly. As you wish, human, she is yours. Property transferred, no refunds. He pressed the release button. The cage door sliding open, the crowd hissed and whispered. Some pointed at Daniel with mocking smiles. Others with anger. In their eyes, he was either a fool or a threat. Lyra stood frozen at the cage's edge. Her heart thundered. She could not breathe. She whispered again. Why? Why would you do this? You didn't need to. Daniel turned to her, his expression steady. Because you're not property. His words cut through the noise around them. You're free now. Her knees weakened. Her eyes filled with tears she could not control. She had dreamed of freedom but never believed it possible. And now, a human she barely knew had thrown away everything for her. But danger still lingered. The merchant leaned forward, lowering his voice. Human, listen carefully. You may think you won, but you made enemies. The guild doesn't like losing profit. They will come for you. And for her. Daniel's eyes narrowed. Let them. He took Lyra's hand gently, guiding her through the bazaar. The crowd parted with whispers. Some laughed at the fool, others watched with envy, but more than a few with hatred. Every step Lyra took felt unreal. The chains that had weighed her down for years were gone, yet the fear was still inside her chest. She looked at Daniel's hand holding hers, firm, steady, warm, back in the small room. She finally spoke, her voice breaking. You gave up everything for me. I don't understand. You don't even know me. Daniel met her eyes, his voice calm. I know enough. I know you deserve better than a cage. Her tears fell freely now. She tried to speak, but words broke apart. She covered her face, trembling. No one had ever fought for her. No one had ever seen her as more than property. Until now, for the first time, she felt something she had never known. Hope mixed with belonging. But outside, the station buzzed with danger. Shadows moved between alleys. Messages whispered through traders. The human had bought what should not be bought. The guild would not stay silent. The decision was made. The girl was his, and the war for her freedom had just begun. The station felt different now for Daniel. Every eye in the bazaar carried danger, and for Lyra, every step felt like stolen freedom. The guild's whispers followed them through the metallic corridors like a shadow that would not leave. Daniel tightened his grip on Lyra's hand as they moved quickly toward the hangar. He kept his head low but his eyes sharp, watching corners, listening for footsteps. He knew the guild would not let such a purchase go easily. Lyra's heart pounded with every echoing step. Her thin feet struggled to keep up. Her mind screamed, "This is a dream. It will break," she whispered softly. "They will come for me. You don't understand." "No one escapes the guild." Daniel didn't slow. His jaw clenched. "Then let them try. The hangar doors opened with a hiss, revealing rows of ships big and small, some sleek, some broken. The air smelled of fuel and burnt metal. Daniel's vessel sat near the far wall. A simple freighter, old but reliable. To Lyra, it looked like freedom wrapped in steel. They boarded quickly. Daniel pressing the control panel with practiced hands, the ship hummed awake, engines roaring. Lights flickered across the dashboard. Outside, dock workers glanced but said nothing. They had seen many desperate faces, but few as determined as Daniel's. Lyra stood in the center of the cabin, gripping the wall. Her silver hair glowed under the ship's lights. Her wide eyes scanned every corner. She had never been on a private ship before. This is yours?" she asked, disbelief in her voice. Daniel gave a short nod. "Home. When I'm far from Earth," her lips parted slightly. "Home," she repeated. As if testing the word, her chest tightened. She had never had one. The engines roared louder. The ship lifted off the platform. Metal rattled as they broke free from the hangar. Stars spilled into the viewport. Endless and shining, for the first time in her life. Lyra wasn't looking through bars. She pressed her hands to the glass, tears in her eyes. "It's beautiful," she whispered. Daniel watched her quietly. Her awe was real, and it stirred something deep in him. This was worth every credit, every risk. But peace did not last long. Red lights blinked on the console. Daniel cursed under his breath. Guild patrol ships, on the radar. 3 dots appeared, closing fast. The Guild had wasted no time. Lyra's body froze, fear flooding her veins. "They'll take me back, they'll punish us both. You don't know what they do to runaways." Her voice shook violently. Daniel's eyes hardened. His hands flew over the controls. "Listen to me, Lyra," he said firmly. "You are not going back. Not now. Not ever." The freighter shot forward, engines screaming. The stars blurred as he pushed the ship to its limit. Behind them, Guild ships closed in, sleek and armed. Their comms crackled with alien voices demanding surrender. Daniel switched off the comms. His focus razor sharp, he pulled a lever, sending the ship into a sharp dive. Alarms screamed. Lyra gripped the chair, her small body thrown by the motion. But through the fear, she saw something she hadn't before. This human was not just kind. He was skilled. The Guild ships fired streaks of red plasma cutting through space. Daniel jerked the ship sideways, dodging narrowly. Sparks flew as one blast grazed the hull. Lyra screamed. But Daniel didn't flinch. "Hold on!" he shouted. He darted into an asteroid field, jagged rocks spinning in the void. It was madness to enter, but madness was survival. The Guild ships followed, their weapons flashing. But Daniel used the rocks like shields, weaving through with impossible reflexes. Lyra stared at him, stunned. "How are you doing this?" Daniel's lips curved faintly. "Piloting's like dancing. Just don't step on the wrong stone." Despite her terror, a small laugh escaped her throat. It was the first sound of joy she had made in years. The chase stretched long, each moment a knife's edge. Finally, Daniel slammed a hidden switch, releasing a cloud of metallic debris from the ship's belly. The shards scattered, sensors confused. The Guild ships broke formation. Their scanners blinded. Daniel seized the chance. Blasting out of the field, the freighter surged forward, engines screaming until the stars stretched into lines. Jumping into hyperspace, silence filled the cabin. Only the hum of the ship remaining. Lyra's chest heaved, her body shaking. She looked at Daniel with wide eyes. You saved me again," he turned to her. His face calm. "Get used to it." Her lips trembled. And for the first time, she didn't just feel safe. She felt chosen. Lyra walked slowly toward him. Her chains gone, but her heart still bound by fear. "I don't know why you risk everything for me, but I'll follow you wherever you go." Her voice was soft, but steady. Daniel met her gaze. His eyes were steady, full of promise. "Then your journey begins here with me." Outside, hyperspace stretched like an endless river of light. And for the first time in her life, Lyra wasn't running toward a cage, she was flying toward a future. But both of them knew this was only the beginning. The Guild would not stay silent. The decision was made. The girl was his. And the war for her freedom had just begun. The station felt different now for Daniel. Every eye in the bazaar carried danger. And for Lyra, every step felt like stolen freedom. The Guild's whispers followed them through the metallic corridors like a shadow that would not leave. Daniel tightened his grip on Lyra's hand as they moved quickly toward the hangar. He kept his head low but his eyes sharp. watching corners, listening for footsteps. He knew the guild would not let such a purchase go easily. Lyra's heart pounded with every echoing step. Her thin feet struggled to keep up. Her mind screamed, "This is a dream. It will break," she whispered softly. "They will come for me, you don't understand." No one escapes the guild. Daniel didn't slow, his jaw clenched. Then let them try. The hangar doors opened with a hiss, revealing rows of ships, big and small, some sleek, some broken. The air smelled of fuel and burnt metal. Daniel's vessel sat near the far wall, a simple freighter, old but reliable. To Lyra, it looked like freedom wrapped in steel. They boarded quickly. Daniel pressing the control panel with practiced hands. The ship hummed awake, engines roaring. Lights flickered across the dashboard. Outside, dock workers glanced but said nothing. They had seen many desperate faces, but few as determined as Daniel's. Lyra stood in the center of the cabin, gripping the wall. Her silver hair glowed under the ship's lights. Her wide eyes scanned every corner. She had never been on a private ship before. This is yours?" she asked, disbelief in her voice. Daniel gave a short nod. "Home, when I'm far from Earth." Her lips parted slightly. "Home," she repeated. As if testing the word, her chest tightened. She had never had one. The engines roared louder. The ship lifted off the platform. Metal rattled as they broke free from the hangar. Stars spilled into the viewport. Endless and shining for the first time in her life, Lyra wasn't looking through bars. She pressed her hands to the glass, tears in her eyes. "It's beautiful," she whispered. Daniel watched her quietly. Her awe was real, and it stirred something deep in him. This was worth every credit, every risk. But peace did not last long. Red lights blinked on the console. Daniel cursed under his breath. Guild patrol ships on the radar. 3 dots appeared, closing fast. The guild had wasted no time. Lyra's body froze, fear flooding her veins. "They'll take me back, they'll punish us both. You don't know what they do to runaways." Her voice shook violently. Daniel's eyes hardened. His hands flew over the controls. "Listen to me, Lyra," he said firmly. "You are not going back, not now. Not ever." The freighter shot forward, engines screaming. The stars blurred as he pushed the ship to its limit. Behind them, guild ships closed in, sleek and armed. Their comms crackled with alien voices demanding surrender. Daniel switched off the comms. His focus razor sharp, he pulled a lever, sending the ship into a sharp dive. Alarms screamed. Lyra gripped the chair. Her small body thrown by the motion, but through the fear, she saw something she hadn't before. This human was not just kind. He was skilled. The guild ships fired, streaks of red plasma cutting through space. Daniel jerked the ship sideways, dodging narrowly. Sparks flew as one blast grazed the hull. Lyra screamed, but Daniel didn't flinch. "Hold on!" he shouted. He darted into an asteroid field, jagged rocks spinning in the void. It was madness to enter, but madness was survival. The guild ships followed, their weapons flashing. But Daniel used the rocks like shields, weaving through with impossible reflexes. Lyra stared at him, stunned. "How are you doing this?" Daniel's lips curved faintly. "Piloting's like dancing. Just don't step on the wrong stone." Despite her terror, a small laugh escaped her throat. It was the first sound of joy she had made in years. The chase stretched long, each moment a knife's edge. Finally, Daniel slammed a hidden switch, releasing a cloud of metallic debris from the ship's belly. The shards scattered, sensors confused. The guild ships broke formation. Their scanners blinded. Daniel seized the chance. Blasting out of the field, the freighter surged forward. Engines screaming until the stars stretched into lines, jumping into hyperspace. Silence filled the cabin, only the hum of the ship remaining. Lyra's chest heaved, her body shaking. She looked at Daniel with wide eyes. You saved me again," he turned to her. His face calm. "Get used to it." Her lips trembled. And for the first time, she didn't just feel safe, she felt chosen. Lyra walked slowly toward him, her chains gone but her heart still bound by fear. "I don't know why you risk everything for me, but I'll follow you wherever you go." Her voice was soft, but steady. Daniel met her gaze, his eyes were steady, full of promise. "Then your journey begins here with me, outside." Hyperspace stretched like an endless river of light. And for the first time in her life, Lyra wasn't running toward a cage. She was flying toward a future. But both of them knew this was only the beginning. The guild would not forgive. Shadows were already hunting. And freedom would demand a price. The stars had barely settled from the jump when the alarm rang again. Red lights flashed across the freighter's cabin. Daniel cursed under his breath. They followed us. Lyra clutched the chair, her eyes wide with dread. The screen lit up with signals. 5 guild ships, bigger and faster than the ones before. Their engines burned bright in the void, hunting like wolves. Her voice cracked. They never stop. They will chase us to the ends of space. Daniel's hands moved across the controls, his jaw tight. Then let's see how far they're willing to go. The freighter roared forward. Its engine straining, Daniel pushed it beyond safety. Metal groaning under the pressure behind them. The guild ships spread into formation, blocking every escape path. Blasts of plasma streaked past, lighting the darkness. One bolt clipped the freighter's wing, sparks flying inside the cabin. Lyra cried out, covering her ears. Daniel stayed calm. Not today, he muttered. Flipping a lever, the ship rolled sideways. Slipping between enemy fire, the guild ships adjusted instantly. Predators circling prey. Inside, Lyra trembled. She whispered, "Why fight? Why not give me back? You don't have to die for me." Daniel's eyes burned. He looked at her for 1 second. "Listen, Lyra. I didn't buy you to own you. I bought you to free you, and I'm not letting anyone take you back." Her chest tightened. His words cut through the fear like light through shadow. The guild ships closed in, sirens blaring. Daniel guided the freighter into a dense nebula. Purple clouds swirled outside, charged with lightning. Visibility dropped to nothing, sensors screamed with static. The guild ships hesitated but entered, confident in their superior tech. Their voices echoed over the comms. "Human ship, surrender, and your death will be quick." Daniel shut the comms off with a snap, his voice low. "They think we're weak. Let's prove them wrong." He killed the main lights, the cabin dropping into eerie darkness. Only the soft glow of nebula lightning painted their faces. The freighter drifted silently, hidden in the cosmic storm. Lyra's breath came fast. She whispered, "What are you doing?" Daniel's fingers hovered over switches, his eyes sharp. Playing dead, the guild ship scanned, their beams cutting through the clouds, searching. Each second stretched long. Then suddenly a plasma blast tore through the mist. Missing by inches, the freighter shook, alarms blaring. "They found us." Lyra gasped. Daniel grinned faintly. "No, we found them." He hit a hidden switch, releasing a wave of decoy flares. Bright orbs of false signals scattered in all directions. The guild scanners went wild, targets multiplying, confused. 2 guild ships fired at the flares. Explosions lighting the nebula. In the chaos, Daniel punched the engines. The freighter shot through the storm, weaving between lightning arcs. The nebula spat energy around them, but Daniel used it like a shield. Behind them, guild ships scrambled. One struck by a lightning surge, its systems fried. Another collided with a rock hidden in the mist, tearing apart in fire. Still, 3 remained, chasing hard. Daniel's teeth clenched. Persistent bastards. He pulled the freighter into a sharp dive. Skimming close to the nebula's dense core, the ship rattled, alarms screaming. Lyra gripped the console with white knuckles. 1 guild ship fired, the blast grazing their hull. Metal screamed as the cabin shook. Smoke filled the air. Lyra coughed, fear choking her voice. "We can't make it." Daniel's voice cut through the panic, strong and certain. "Yes, we can. Hold on." He guided the freighter straight into the thickest part of the storm, where gravity shifted violently. The guild ships hesitated, their scanners blinded. But Daniel flew as if he could see with instinct, weaving between invisible traps. Suddenly, a huge energy wave burst, throwing ships apart. Daniel had timed it perfectly. His freighter shot clear, while the remaining guild ships were caught in the blast, torn and scattered. Silence followed. Only the hum of their damaged engines remained. Daniel let out a long breath, his hands finally relaxing on the controls. Lyra stared at him, her eyes wet with shock and something more. How did you do that?" Daniel gave a faint smile, tired but steady. "Earth trick. Sometimes the best way to win a chase is to let the storm fight for you." She laughed softly through tears. Her fear melted into awe. She whispered, "No one has ever fought for me like this." "No one." Daniel looked at her, his voice low. "Get used to it." The freighter limped out of the nebula, battered but alive. Stars stretched ahead like an open path for Lyra. It was the first time the future wasn't a cage or a rental night. It was wide, terrifying and beautiful, but in the shadows of space, Guild messages were already spreading. The human had embarrassed them, cost them ships their hunters would return, stronger, deadlier. And both Daniel and Lyra knew the chase was far from over. The freighter drifted in silence, battered but alive. Smoke still curled from the panels. The engines hummed with pain. But they were out of danger for now. Lyra sat on the floor of the cabin, her knees pulled to her chest. Her silver hair clung to her face, her eyes wide. She had survived things she thought impossible, yet her heart raced for another reason. Daniel moved through the ship, checking systems. His jacket was torn, grease smeared across his arms. Still, his movements were steady, calm. He looked like a man carrying the weight of the galaxy but refusing to drop it. When the alarms finally went quiet, Daniel returned to the cabin. He sat across from Lyra. Dropping heavily into the chair, his chest rose and fell with exhaustion. For a long moment they said nothing. The silence was not empty. It was heavy, filled with everything left unsaid. Lyra's voice broke first, soft as a whisper. "You could have left me." Daniel glanced at her. His expression unreadable. "I didn't." Her throat tightened. Her eyes shimmered. "Why?" Daniel leaned back, his gaze fixed on the ceiling for a moment before meeting her eyes. "Because I saw you, Lyra, not a slave, not a rental girl. You." Her lips parted, but no words came. She had been called many things in her life. Object, property number, but never simply you. Tears welled. She shook her head. "You don't understand people like me. We don't get saved, we get used, broken, forgotten. Tomorrow you'll regret it. You'll regret wasting your money, your ship, your life." Daniel leaned forward, his voice steady. "I don't regret saving you. Not yesterday, not today, not ever." Her chest heaved. Her fingers twisted in her lap. She whispered, almost afraid, "Why do you care so much? You don't even know me." Daniel's eyes softened. He reached out, not grabbing, just letting his hand rest open on the table between them. "Because I want to. Because I chose to. And maybe, because I already know enough." Lyra stared at his hand. Her heart pounded, her breath trembled, slowly, as if breaking a chain. She placed her thin fingers into his palm. The touch was small, fragile, but to her it felt like holding the entire universe. Her voice cracked. "I don't know what this feeling is. It scares me, but when I'm with you, I don't feel like property. I don't feel like nothing." Daniel's grip tightened gently. His words were quiet. "That's because you're not nothing. You're everything right now." A sob escaped her lips. She tried to pull away, ashamed of her tears. But Daniel held on, not to trap her, but to keep her from vanishing into fear. I think," Lyra's voice shook, "I think I care for you more than I should, more than I thought I could." Her eyes dropped, terrified of rejection. "Is that wrong?" Daniel's hand lifted, brushing a strand of silver hair from her face. His touch was careful, respectful. "It's not wrong," he said. "It's real." Her breath caught. Her heart raced wildly. She searched his eyes, desperate for truth. "And you? Do you feel the same?" Daniel hesitated only a moment, then nodded. "Yes, I do." His voice carried no doubt. "From the first night, when you looked at me through that cage, I knew." Lyra's tears spilled freely now. She leaned forward, resting her forehead against his chest. Her small frame trembled. Daniel wrapped his arms around her gently, not as a master holding property, but as a man holding someone precious. The freighter hummed softly around them, a broken vessel carrying two hearts mending each other. For a while time stopped. No guild, no cages, no fear, just them. But the galaxy never let peace last long. A faint beep from the console cut through the silence. Daniel looked up sharply, his arms still around Lyra. He reached over and tapped the screen. A warning flashed. Long-range scans detected movement. Multiple ships approaching. His jaw tightened. "They found us again." Lyra stiffened, her fragile hope trembling. But Daniel's arms stayed firm around her. "Listen to me," he said firmly. "Whatever happens, I'm not letting them take you, not now. Not ever." Her tears glistened, but her eyes were stronger now. She nodded, pressing her face against him, whispering, "Then I'm not letting go either." For the first time, love was spoken aloud between them, not just in words, but in the choice they both made. To fight together, to live together. The confession was done, but the battle was not. Stars outside flickered with shadows of new hunters closing in. The guild was coming stronger than ever, and this time, Daniel and Lyra would stand not just as protector and saved, but as something more together. The stars ahead were silent, but Daniel knew the silence was a trap. The freighter's sensors screamed with new signals, guild warships, larger than before, moving like shadows through the void. Lyra stood beside him at the console, her fingers trembling as she read the flashing lights. "They're here," she whispered, fear returning to her chest. Daniel's eyes stayed on the screen, calm but sharp. "Then this ends tonight." The guild ship spread across the starfield. Forming a blockade, their comms burst alive with a cruel voice. "Humans, surrender the girl. You cannot win. Your ship is broken. Your credits are gone. End it now." Daniel leaned forward, pressing the comms button. His voice was steady. "You made one mistake. You thought she was for sale, but she's not property anymore. She's mine, not because I bought her, but because I chose her. And she chose me." The guild's laughter filled the channel. Mocking, cruel. "Then you will both die together." The first barrage came, beams of plasma tearing through space. The freighter shook violently, alarms blaring. Sparks flew across the cabin. Lyra cried out, grabbing the console for balance. Daniel gritted his teeth, hands flying over controls. "Hold on," he barked. The freighter dove sharply, weaving between blasts, but the ship was damaged. Slower than before, every move felt heavier. The guild ships closed in. Like predators cornering prey, Lyra's heart raced, her voice breaking. "Daniel, we can't outrun them. They're too many." Daniel's eyes flashed with determination. "Then we don't run." He slammed another switch, panels sliding open along the freighter's belly. "We fight." Hidden compartments released mines, small glowing orbs drifting into space. When the guild ships advanced, 3 detonated at once, explosions scattering debris. One ship spiraled, another ripped apart. The others roared forward, furious. Daniel pushed the engines to their limit. "They think I'm just a traitor. But I learned a few things from Earth's war pilots." His lips curved faintly. "Never underestimate a human?" Lyra stared at him, awe mixing with fear. "You're not like anyone I've ever known." The freighter rolled sharply. Cutting through the enemy formation, Daniel fired the small cannons. Blasts of blue energy hitting weak points. One guild ship erupted in flames, but the freighter groaned. Warnings flashing red. The hull was cracking. The engines close to failure. Lyra's voice trembled. "We can't survive this." "Not both of us." Daniel turned to her, his eyes fierce. "Listen, Lyra. I didn't risk everything to lose you now. We're getting out, together." Her tears fell. But this time she didn't argue. She grabbed his arm, her voice steady. "Then I'll fight with you." Another barrage slammed into the freighter, systems failing, lights flickered. The guild ship circled, preparing the final strike. Daniel's eyes scanned the controls. Then he saw it, an unstable star ahead, its gravity tearing space around it. "We use the star," he said, Lyra's breath caught. "That's suicide." Daniel's jaw tightened. "For them? Not us." He steered the freighter straight toward the blazing star. The guild ships followed, laughing at the madness. But Daniel's mind worked like fire. He adjusted course at the last second, skimming the edge of the star's deadly pull. The freighter shook violently, panels bursting, but they broke free, flying clear behind them. 3 guild ships couldn't turn fast enough. Gravity seized them, pulling them into the burning star. Their screams cut off in fire. Only one ship remained, larger and deadlier. Its cannons charged, aimed at the freighter. Daniel's ship couldn't take another hit. The end was seconds away. Lyra stepped forward, her eyes glowing with sudden fire. "No more running," she whispered. Her hands moved to the control Daniel wasn't reaching, activating a last defense system hidden deep in the ship. A surge of energy shot outward, a pulse wave. The guild ship's systems flickered. Overloaded, in seconds its weapons died. Engines sputtering, then it exploded, breaking apart in the void. Silence fell, the freighter drifted, broken but alive. The stars were clear, no more hunters. Lyra collapsed into the chair, her body trembling. She looked at Daniel with tears streaming. "We did it." Daniel leaned back, exhausted but smiling faintly. "Yeah, we did." Lyra stood slowly, her legs weak. She walked to him, her eyes shining with tears and something brighter. She whispered, "Not rented, not bought, but forever chosen." Daniel rose, his hand lifting to touch her face gently. "Forever," he said. Their foreheads touched. The stars burning beyond the glass for the first time. Lyra's chains were not just broken. They were gone. The guild would recover. Enemies would rise again, but in this moment, Daniel and Lyra had won together. They weren't slave and buyer, but partners, and as the freighter limped into the quiet of space, two hearts beat with one truth. Whatever the galaxy threw at them, they would face it not alone but forever together,